Having trouble figuring out what to do? It's time to call Bodie at 1-800-336-2225.
Hello and welcome back to In the Garage. With us right now is my good friend Mario Buntage. I almost said Barrio Muntage. Sorry, man. But he's talking to us about, the process in painting a car and the different steps and today's new materials. And so before break, I interrupted you because you were bagging on me on my metal work. But no, I mean, it's good, and it's nice though when you are hauling butt like that and you're working 24 hours a day and you start seeing little green monsters walking on the car and stuff because you've been up so long, to hand it off to somebody like you that can take control from there and take it over and finalize the the last steps of it.
Sure.
But so anyways, so then you lay down all the filler and everything, and you make a nice.
Yeah, once the filler is laid down, then we sand it down with a 40 grit. Once it's sanded down with 40 grit, we move to an 80 grit.
Okay.
And then the car gets primered. Then after the primer is good and dry, we block it again with a 150.
Mm-hmm.
Then after the 150, then it gets primed with a heavy prime, probably 2 to 3 coats.
Okay.
And then it gets blocked again, wet sanded with a 400 grit.
Okay.
And then it goes to a soft block with 600, and that gets it ready for paint.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of steps from the filler to the paint.
Now, when you shoot your base coat, do you? The way I used to do it back in the old days is I could shoot a base coat before I did a clear, and I could give it a wet sand before I shot the clear. Do you guys?
You can do that. We've got a pretty clean environment. We really don't have to
Gotcha.
sand it down once the base is put on.
Gotcha.
It goes on pretty nice. Those new materials sprays pretty good as long as you have a clean place to shoot.
Gotcha.
And then once that, then the base coat goes. Well, first before the base coat, actually, the entire car gets sealed with a sealer.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on what color you're putting on the car, there's three. There's a white, a gray, and a black sealer. And again, depending on what color you want and what transparency, that makes you decide on which. Obviously white's more transparent, and then
Sure.
black being the dark color. So you seal the entire car first,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, the base coat immediately follows the sealer.
Wow.
And once the base coat's on, then the base coat has to be dried because it is water-based now. So you've got to dry the base coat thoroughly,
Mm-hmm.
and then you move from that to the urethane to the clear.
Yeah.
And we put good 6-7 coats of clear on the vehicle.
Wow.
Give it enough depth just so you can go and polish it out afterwards.
Gotcha.
And get it nice and smooth or glassy, however you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, I have a tear in my eye. That story was so beautiful that you just told. I really do. That was so beautiful. Sorry, keep going.
And so then after it's all painted and done, you'd let it dry for a day or two, and then we go out and we sand it down with an 800 grit.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you sand it with that, we let it sit for a couple of days, let it
air out.
Stiffen out, the air out real good.
Mm-hmm.
And once it does that, then we go back in and we sand it down with 1,000, and then a 1,500 grit after the 1,000.
And then
that's all wet sanded.
Uh-huh.
Once it's done with the 1,500, and then it goes to the polisher, and it gets polished with a compound. We use a 3M compound.
Uh-huh.
And we polish it with a compound. Then it gets glazed after the compound with a 3M glaze. And then it's pretty much done. Then you just
beautiful.
wax. Then you wax as needed. After that, you just wax it as many times as you want. But that's all the steps you go through to get it to where you need it.
Wow, that was beautifully told. I'm not even kidding. Are you crying, Mitchell?
That was good.
That was good, Mario. That was
Yeah, I
like-
want Mitchell to know I don't just, mess around.
Holy moly, man.
Well, now everybody can understand how big of a process paint is. I mean, there's a lot to it.
It's the last thing you do to a, it's the last thing you do to a car, but it's the first thing you see when you walk up to it. So, the paint makes a difference. If the paint job isn't good, sometimes it doesn't matter what the rest of it is. It's that first initial impression that really.
Oh, sure. Makes the whole car, makes a difference.
Yep.
What kind of material do you use usually? PPG or?
I'm using, PPG's high performance paints. It's EnviroBase.
Okay.
And I use all PPG
cool.
products and 3M products.
Yeah, very good products. I've been using them for a long time as well.
Yeah, it's very good, and I've got a good friend that supplies it all to me. And
Good. Well, hey, man, I want to thank you for joining us. I mean, I'm serious. Brought a tear to my eye. I'm not even kidding. That was beautifully told. You did awesome. And if anybody wants to go see Mario or take their car to Mario, he's in Glendale between Central and Brand, right next door to Glendale Harley Davidson. And the phone number there is 818-240-4125. That's 818-240-4125. Hey, thanks a lot, Mario, for coming on, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Bodie, thank you.
Yep.
And I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Bye, buddy.
Okay, thank you. Coming up next, we're going to talk about next week's show and tell you what's coming up.
Are you an inventor? Or do you know an inventor who would like to attempt to have an invention or idea patented and submitted to industry? For free information on how to proceed, call 1-800-619-9808. That's 1-800-619-9808. Invent Help, one of America's largest invention companies, has inventors' information you can have free. Record your invention's date of origination, plus get an informative brochure and other material of interest to new inventors. Learn how to get your free information by dialing 1-800-619-9808.